Hello viewers and welcome to another match of Warhammer 40,000 Conquest. My name is Mitch and I am the Hive Tyrant. Today we have the Week 6 featured game from Sam Mann's online Conquest LCG Octagon League, his Black Crusade. This is going to see two of the best Conquest players in the world pit against one another in a Captain Cato Sicarius Warlord Space Marines faction mirror match. At the bottom of our screen, we have Kevin Corvus Hynes, and at the top we have Davis Big Belly Jarelli Kingsley. Both of our players are deciding whether or not they want to keep their opening hands. Corvus has initiative, and that is somewhat of a disadvantage normally for a player. I believe that your win percent is slightly higher if you can respond to what exactly your opponent is doing, and it seems like our players may or may not be running somewhat dissimilar decks. An interesting tech choice here for Davis is one copy of Exterminatus, so if his opponent sets himself up for win condition at planet 2, 3, 4, or 5, then Davis can be just outright obliterating whatever it is that Corvus puts on the table here. Davis is deciding whether or not he wants to keep his opening hand. He's got the Talisarian Tempest Blade, which brings him to a 3/6 Warlord with Armorbane. And then for Corvus, he's got a copy of Indomitable to block an Armorbane swing. He's also got Blood Angels Veterans, which, if it's at a planet alone with a Cato that swings for 3, it will survive the initial hit. Indomitable can also let it shrug off a hit. The Fury of Sicarius would let Corvus manage to kill one of the enemy units here, but it looks like Corvus did decide to keep his opening hand, and the same thing goes for Davis. So Corvus is a command player, and he's got a copy of Void Pirate, 10th Company Scout. I can only imagine he's got these scouts because they're cheap and because they're going to make sure that he can hit on drop pod assaults. Planet number 1, by the way, is going to be Planum, which allows you to move a non-Warlord unit, and I suppose in that case it's kind of handy for Corvus, because he's got initiative, in that his veterans are going to be able to attack first. They're presumably going to be able to win that planet, and then Corvus is going to be able to set up that unit wherever he would like. It's entirely possible that those Blood Angels veterans could swing, kill an enemy unit, and then they would ready at the end of the round, and then they'll be moved to another planet, and they'll be ready again. But, of course, Cato, as a Warlord, isn't exactly easy to harass, and especially if he picks up the Talisarian Tempest Blade, that would make very short work of a Blood Angels Veterans, unless Corvus has got a copy of, like, Indomitable to back up his BAVs there. So it's going to be deploy action going to Davis. Davis lays down a copy of his own Blood Angels Veterans, and this is very interesting indeed. Naturally, Corvus is going to be swinging first. 3 minus 1 is going to be only 2, and then 3 minus 0 is 3. So we could see that Indomitable save Corvus here at planet number 1, but an absolutely fascinating turn of events. Here at planet number 3, we've got a 10th Company Scout threatening to win a card and a resource, and at the moment both of our players are tied in regard to cards and resources. We do have a copy of Promotion in Corvus's hand. Corvus, only 3 resources left. Davis with 4 resources, and do bear in mind that whenever either copy of Cato kills, well, whenever an enemy unit is destroyed at a planet where sits a copy of either of our Captain Cato Sicarius, that's going to be an additional 1 resource for the controller there of Cato. Davis is allied with Astra Militarum, something interesting in this match. He lays down his Talisarian Tempest Blade. That's got to be frustrating to see for Corvus, just because it is so monumentally powerful. Both players have a copy of the Fury of Sicarius for destroying some large, beefy unit with something so small as a 10th Company Scout. Davis has got a copy of Sicarius's Chosen in case he wants to use his remaining resources to pull this copy of Blood Angels Veterans away from planet number 1, and it looks like Davis is doing something that I presume Corvus is not, which is allying with Astra Militarum. So at a green planet for the cost of 1, this has got got a command icon, and it's going to be a 2/2. It doesn't hit with Drop Pod Assault, unlike the 10th Company Scout, and you can't Indomitable it and Crushing Blow off of it, but it is a more durable unit. So Corvus is going to be down to 2 resources after he lays down a copy of Void Pirate at a nice kind of low-value planet like Iridial is currently affording 2 cards worth of command to Corvus, but if Cato shows up at that planet, the only battle ability he's going to be activating is a healing effect, which is potentially going to be useless. So very interestingly, the Blood Angels Veterans at 1, controlled by Corvus, is going to be promoted. That's a 0-cost limited card. So now, if Davis goes to planet number 1, he'll win command, but if he does that, he's going to steal initiative. The Blood Angels Veterans is then going to be able to swing at either Cato or at I guess at a Blood Angels Veterans, just depending on what works out beneficially here. Both players send their Warlords to planet number 1, and this is going to be very interesting indeed. So this is going to be a lot of command for Corvus, so good on him. Looks like it's only going to be a paltry 2 resources for Davis, of course the runner-up world champion for 2014. In Corvus has made a hell of a name for himself in this community just by being an all-around superb player. 4 cards and 2 resources for Corvus, and things are looking good for him. 4 resources, 7 cards in total, relative to 4 resources and 4 cards. For Davis, Davis does not have a copy of Indomitable, and Corvus does, and Corvus has a copy of Drop Pod Assault. So let's see, this is looking like things could go all the way bad rather quickly for Davis. He doesn't have a whole lot of tricks in hand to deal with this kind of situation. We could see Cato swing for 3, and that could be blocked by Indomitable. We've got 2 Eager Recruits. We've even got a copy of the Fury of Sicarius just to make sure that this lead that Corvus has at the moment is going to turn into just an absolute landslide. So we begin combat, no command actions. That's going to be a swing of 2 directed toward Captain Cato Sicarius for Davis here. And what exactly is Davis going to do? All he's got in regard to shields is going to be a copy of Exterminatus and the Fury of Sicarius. And if Cato decides to stay, I would imagine that we are going to be seeing a bloodied Warlord. So it's going to be Cato and the BAV could attack for a total combined value of 6. That's going to be insufficient to kill Cato, because presumably we can see shields, we can see Indomitable, and those 2 Eager Recruits alone could put another couple of points of damage on Cato if both of those are shielded, and then a Drop Pod Assault could easily deal the killing blow to Cato if somehow this BAV doesn't do it itself. So let's see what happens here. This is going to be an Armorbane 3 attack directed toward the Blood Angels Veterans. It's going to be taking 2 points of damage, and if it does, we could see the Fury of Sicarius used to remove that unit. Do we see Indomitable or not? Indomitable would definitely be the safe play. Corvus has got to be thinking in his mind, what if his opponent has a copy of the Fury of Sicarius? If he uses a 2-value shield card, he'll manage... Well, actually, sorry, he can't use a shield card. What I was meaning to say is if he uses Indomitable, he does block all of this damage. He prevents Davis from winning 1 resource. He's going to be able to swing at Cato. There we go, Corvus, nicely done. That's going to be a copy of Indomitable, making my commentary easy. So that attack is going to be shrugged off, and now that is going to be the Blood Angels Veterans with a fine opportunity to attack Davis's copy of Captain Cato Sicarius, and it's looking, ladies and gentlemen, like this is going to be a round 1 bloodying of this Warlord. Very interesting here. Looks like Davis is taking no risks whatsoever. This is going to be a copy of Eager Recruit dropping into play, taking a swing at Captain Cato Sicarius. That's going to be an Exterminatus discarded as a shield. That's only going to be 1 point of damage dealt to Cato, but now what can we see? It's going to be this copy of Blood Angels Veterans attacking the other Blood Angels Veterans, and if we see Primal Howl or Drop Pod Assault discarded as shields, that is going to disallow Davis the opportunity to use the Fury of Sicarius, because 2 + 1 is going to be 3, blocking 3 points of damage, and the last time I checked, the Fury of Sicarius has to it has to damage a unit for that effect to resolve. So I think if it were me, Corvus is already doing quite well with cards coming in. Well, first of all, I don't have the insight that, Corvus does. It's going to be a copy of Drop Pod Assault discarded as a shield, and that is one hell of an effect, so it may as well be GG, well played right now here for Corvus, but perhaps I'm being a little bit premature. Davis indicates that he has no actions, and indeed he has no tricks left. This is going to be that copy of the Blood Angels Veterans, presumably dealing a nice blow to Cato. We'll have to see that copy of the Fury of Sicarius discarded as a shield, unless Cato is going to be bloodied, and then that Eager Recruit is going to be able to just finish the fight here. So what are we going to see? Is Davis going to accept his fate, or no, he is not. He is not going to go down without a fight. The Fury of Sicarius is going to be discarded as a shield card here, and perhaps this is bad karma coming back to bite Davis in the ass for being about 30 or so minutes late to this match. So, Eager Recruit drops down onto the table. That is going to be another attack, and it is going to be dealing that bloodying blow to Captain Cato Sicarius, and I believe Cato is only a 2-5 on his bloodied side, and that is not going to bode well at all for our first Space Marines faction Warlord. So, Cato is going to be bloodied. He is going to be banished from that planet. We're going to come to the end of a combat round. If this Blood Angels Veterans does decide to retreat, I suppose that makes it easy for me. If it would have stayed, that could have been this Blood Angels Veterans attacking it for, I guess 2 is what would have happened, and then it could have survived. Then it would have been like the BAV presumably killing this other Blood Angels Veterans, but because Davis retreated with his unit, that is going to be Planum won by Corvus. That's going to be this Blood Angels Veterans repositioned to our new soon-to-be planet number 1, and that is going to be 3 command icons staring down at this Sacalum Shrine Guard. It is a 2-2, and Davis is going to have initiative naturally at that planet. It's only going to be able to swing for 2 minus 1 is only going to be a single 1 point of damage on this Blood Angels Veterans, and because it's an AM unit, it's not eligible for the Fury of Sicarius. So HQ phase is come and gone. That's going to be 4 resources and 2 cards for each of our players. Planet number 5 is going to be Karnath, the trigger a battle ability of any other planet in play planet. Planet 4, by the way, is the routing planet Farron, and now it's going to be up to Davis to try to reestablish himself economically, and then just try to stop himself from getting killed outright. So he's now got a 3-5 Warlord that's got Armor Bane, but he's no longer going to be generating a large volume of resources, presuming that Corvus is going to be able to win at planet number 1, unless we see this Sicarius has chosen relocate that unit. If Corvus wins at that planet, that's going to be 2 green strong point icons added to his victory display, and then he could win at planet number 3 if that is the case, or if he starts picking up additional tech icons, he could win through planets 2 and 3 as well. So I'll be very curious to see what exactly is going to be happening. Corvus lays down a copy of the Area Effect 1 2-cost Tactical Squad Cardenas here at planet number 5, and we've now got a copy of 10th Company Scout played out by Davis at planet 3. We've got a copy of Blood Angels Veterans deposited at planet number 2 by Davis. And now, I guess, what exactly are we going to see from Corvus? Corvus could drop a copy of Sicarius' Chosen at planet number 3, and he'd pull the Blood Angels Veterans away from this planet to this other planet, and then I suppose if that's the case, that's going to be the 10th Company Scout, presumably picking up a card and a resource. But, there are kind of a lot of different options here. If Corvus is lucky enough to be commit to the same planet as Davis's copy of Cato, then that's going to be 3 cards drawn for him. He's got 37 cards remaining in his deck. 2 of those are indeed going to be copies of Indomitable, and Davis has still got 4 resources left. He's got a Void Pirate, and he's got Sicarius' Chosen. He's going to want to win command, if at all possible, and probably go for a place that's got a fair number of cards. And he's also going to be needing resources because now he's not naturally going to be generating resources through the process of destroying enemy units. And of course, it's not like SM units are cheap. So Corvus is going to be playing a copy of Sicarius' Chosen. Very interesting and not unbadly played at all. So that is going to be a dead copy of 10th Company Scout, and that's going to be 2 command icons versus 1, and that was going to be setting up this Void Pirate quite nicely to win 2 cards at this planet, but now Davis lays down his own copy of 10th Company Scout, and that is going to be pulling this Void Pirate to planet number 2. Very interestingly, we see a copy of the Fury of Sicarius being discarded, and now I can only imagine that I guess that is 3 command icons versus 2. If Corvus sends his own Warlord to that planet, he's going to have a 3/3, you know, with the damage reduction ability, and a 2/3 to deal with, and that is going to put him at risk for getting beaten up by the enemy's units here. So where exactly is Corvus going to go? Davis is still... Okay, so Corvus indicates that he is done. Davis lays down that copy of Void Pirate to win himself a couple of cards. So where does Corvus want to go? Corvus is looking like he's going to be able to handily win planet number 1, and it's not like integral to his victory condition if he were to choose to do so. If Cato shows up at planet number 1, then Davis is going to risk losing his Blood Angels veterans. Like, let's say if Davis goes to planet number 1, Davis could retreat with his Warlord right away. The Blood Angels veterans could attack and maybe kill Davis's Blood Angels veterans. These could attack for... I guess 2, and, you know, Corvus would be able to shield his way to winning this planet. Looks like both players are going to be going to planet number 2. That's going to be a copy of Primal Howl, and I suppose let's hope for Corvus's sake that he gets a few shield cards. He did get a copy of Indomitable, which is going to be absolutely superb. He also got a copy of Earthcast Technician. That's kind of the traditional alliance here for... Space Marines, I guess Cato in specific. That's going to be 3 command struggles won by Corvus and only 1 command struggle won by Davis. He's got no resources. He's got 2 copies of Promotion drawn in his hand. He's got 2 1-value shield cards, and now let's see what exactly is going to be happening. If Captain Cato Sicarius takes a swing, he's going to be able to be Indomitable, and then he's going to set himself up to potentially lose this game, so Davis is going to have to use his initiative to probably haul ass away from that planet. But of course, we're not quite at that point yet. Planet number 1, Davis takes a swing. It's going to be mitigated by 1 by the Blood Angels veterans. That is going to be grats on that planet to Corvus. So that is going to be +1, well, +0 resources for him, -0 resources for Davis because Davis used up his last resource. That is going to be another green strongpoint icon added to Corvus's victory display. I did not happen to mention it earlier, but whichever of our 2 players ends up winning this game is going to be the one and only player to advance to the single elimination of the spring 2016 season of the Black Crusade. So we've now got a battle happening here at planet number 2. Very interesting that Davis decides to do this. That is going to be a swing of 3 Armor Bane, again, blocked by Indomitable. 2 of those in the top 19 cards of Davis's deck. He's only going to be able to shrug off a paltry couple of points of damage. So that could be 1 point of damage, 2 points of damage, 4 points of damage, and then we could come to the end of the combat round, and that will be Davis able to retreat. So it's going to be up to Corvus to realize that he's going to need to pick apart some of these non-Warlord units. So I guess let's see what Corvus decides to do. He's got to try to kill off this Sicarius' Chosen, this ready Blood Angels veterans, and there's also this exhausted copy of Blood Angels veterans. So interestingly enough, we see the 10th Company Scout attack the Sicarius' Chosen for 2. Looks like Corvus is wisely deciding not to be... he's not trying to be greedy because this is definitely going to come down to the wire for him. that Sicarius has chosen has taken 1 point of damage. Unfortunately for Corvus, there's no the Fury of Sicarius or anything along those lines for him, and he did not come across his other 2 copies of Drop Pod Assault. There's no Crushing Blow, nothing like that to make things go absolutely terrible here for Davis. So this is looking like it's a very interesting fight indeed, because it doesn't necessarily look like Corvus's Warlord is very advantaged in this scenario, but if Corvus takes some damage and then lives to retreat, that's going to be fine. Like a total of 5 versus Cato himself is going to be insufficient to bloody him, and if he can win Iridial the following round, that could potentially be superb. So the Sicarius has chosen goes for the guaranteed kill against that 10th Company Scout. I suppose I shouldn't say guaranteed, but all the 2 shield value Space Marine events, any player would be quite reticent and reluctant to part with. So, 10th Company Scout is going to be dead. That's going to be a Sicarius is chosen with an opportunity to attack, and then the same thing goes for Corvus's copy of Cato. Both of these eager recruits are also going to be able to attack, but it's looking like Corvus is just going to have to try to tear apart as many enemy units as is possible at this planet, because he doesn't have a whole lot of stuff to back him up. He's got great units for the fight. I suppose, like, we'll have to see what happens when this becomes planet number 1. That is going to be a dead. Sicarius is chosen. Corvus is going to be able to, okay, yeah, so he inadvertently decreased his resources. Now he's going to gain the appropriate 1 resource after resetting himself to the 3 he was at. Blood Angels Veteran swings for 3. Do we see that copy of promotion used to protect that unit to spare it from death? I can only imagine that the answer to that question should be yes. So this is going to be well, it's essentially going to be 3 2-1s left at this planet. And we'll have to see if Davis decides to retreat with his Warlord or not. Davis is going to have the first opportunity to attack among all of these present units, and I'll just be quite curious to see what exactly Corvus decides to leave at that planet. Corvus is currently sitting on 2 green strongpoint icons. He does use a 1-value shield card to prevent half of that incoming damage. What kind of sucks is if Corvus decides to retreat, then Aatrox Prime is going to be firing at Corvus's HQ, and if Corvus decides to let Kingsley win at this planet the following round, like, I guess Corvus is trying to make this okay, so it looks like Corvus is going to be retreating with all of his units here at the end of the combat round, but then Aatrox Prime is going, well, I guess there's maybe not a whole ton of reason to do that. Like, Aatrox Prime is going to be firing at his HQ, so the lives of all of these units are essentially forfeit, but we will probably see Corvus's copy of his Warlord retreat, because what we could do is, if Davis decides to stay with his Warlord, and he's got to make this decision first, he's going to have 2 ready copies of Blood Angels Veterans, and all we're going to have to see Davis do is, like, first of all, he's only got 3 hit points remaining, which is frightening, but let's call it 4 with promotion. So if there are 2 attacks directed toward Captain Cato Sicarius, that's potentially going to be GG here for Davis's Warlord. The instant his Warlord dies, he's, of course, basically out of this game. But if Davis decides to stay, he could swing for 3, guaranteed kill, like this unit, then that could be Eager Recruit attacking for 2, that could be his Warlord. Not looking good. Then a Blood Angels Veterans attacks, that's another dead unit, and then that's GG on Davis's Warlord, so I can only imagine that he's going to decide to retreat. Looks like that is indeed the case, and now Corvus has the decision, does he want to retreat? If both of these Blood Angels Veterans attack him, then he's going to have to remove himself from the planet. Looks like Corvus decides to stay at that planet. Perhaps this is in part a bluff, and really I can only imagine that that is the case. Yes, Davis kind of sort of falls for the bait, if you want to call it that, but it's looking like Corvus is going to be able to win Iridial, so, you know, it's not that big of a deal. But Blood Angels Veterans kills the Sicarius is chosen with 1 remaining hit point. Eager Recruit deals 2 points of damage to this Blood Angels Veterans here. The unexhausted Blood Angels Veterans deals a point of damage to that Eager Recruit, and now that's going to be Corvus's Warlord able to deal the killing blow to this copy of Blood Angels Veterans. And then this is going to be very interesting in regard to what we're going to see here, because if that Blood Angels Veterans retreats, that's going to be Aatrox Prime firing at Davis's HQ, and things are going to go from bad to worse for him. Corvus takes a swing at the as of yet uninjured copy of Blood Angels Veterans, so very interesting indeed that he is deciding to do this. That Void Pirate's going to swing. We're going to come to the end of the combat round, and now it's going to be up to Davis. Does he want to retreat with either of these units? If he does, it would be like, you know, all of his stuff would be forfeit. Davis decides to stay. Corvus decides to stay. Davis does not have any actions. Davis is going to be able to attack. Whatever. All right, so that's the BAV is going to kill this copy of Eager Recruit. I can only imagine that we're going to be seeing Cato use this swing to... No, so he is being awfully gutsy indeed, and that is going to be a copy of Promotion discarded. So that means that this is going to be 3 points of damage being dealt to the Warlord of Corvus here, and now Corvus is really going to have no option but to retreat, and then that is going to be his Warlord taking an additional point of damage, and then I can only imagine that Corvus is probably going to be setting himself up. Yep, Corvus decides to get the hell out of there. That is going to be a Planet 1 by Davis. It's not the first planet yet, but it is going to ping the HQ here, so grats to, I guess, Davis for getting Corvus's Warlord to 2 HP remaining. And now what I can only imagine we'll see is maybe, well, okay, let's hope for Davis's sake he draws some incredible cards. He kind of didn't, but we'll look at that in just a moment. The new 5th planet is going to be Taurus, the unit count planet. So if you control fewer units and you go to that planet, you can win 3 cards or 3 resources. We got a copy of Iron Halo, which we could see played on to Captain Cato Sicarius, controlled by Corvus, just to ensure that he's going to be able to survive an attack, go to Iridial, drop off this copy of Blood Angels Veterans, and with the Honored Librarian, presumably be able to win at that planet. We also got a shield card added to Corvus's hand thanks to this Earthcast Technician. Davis instead has got 4 resources. He's got 2 cards. What does he have at his disposal? He's got a copy of Sacalum Shrine Guard for the cost of 1. At this planet, it would be a 2/2, or we could see the Imperial Fist's Devastators played at, okay, first of all, that's not going to be the case. Second of all, looks like, well, I guess let's ignore the Imperial Fist's Devastators. They're not going to be played. Davis still has 3 resources. He's put that Sacalum Shrine Guard here at Planet 5, and at the moment, it's looking like it's going to be a card and a resource for Davis. And let's see that Honored Librarian at planet number 2. I think if it were me, and, you know, I'm not the best player in the world by any means, but I would be quite tempted indeed to do Honored Librarian at 2 and Iron Halo on my Warlord, and then just send those guys to planet number 2, which is my victory condition here. So Davis is currently sitting on 3 resources. We saw a copy of Exterminatus get discarded, so perhaps we're going to be afraid of that. Interestingly enough, that's going to be an Earthcast Technician here. I happen to not even realize that was an option. And I guess we could see a few different things happen. We could see Iron Halo on Cato, of course, but we could also see Sicarius is chosen here at 3, destroy this Void Pirate. And, you know, there's no way for Corvus to know what his opponent has in hand, and holy hell, we got a copy of Talisarian Tempest Blade for Corvus's Warlord, so this is looking very interesting for him. He's going to have to make the decision. Does he want to play the Iron Halo, which basically acts like a repeatable Indomitable, or instead does he want to use that Talisarian Tempest Blade? And that means that if he has an opportunity to swing at the enemy Warlord, Captain Cato Sicarius is going to be outright destroyed. If the Honored Librarian is not played at planet number 2, then Aatrox Prime is not going to have an opportunity to destroy it. And I guess what exactly are we going to see here? This is going to be 5 units controlled by Cato, and it's going to be, looks like 4, 5, 6 units controlled by Corvus. So, sorry, Davis has only got 4 units, and now it's going to be 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 units controlled by Corvus. So this is very interesting. Wherever Corvus sends his Warlord, he's going to have the initiative no matter what. So what exactly does Davis want to do? If Davis goes to planet number 1, that would be silly and pointless. If Davis goes to planet number 2, that's going to be the victory condition planet for this copy of Cato controlled by Corvus. Planet number 3, Davis would be able to win that planet, and I guess he'd be able to planet number 4 is, well, 3 or 4. If he goes to 3, he'll be able to kill the Sicarius' Chosen, unless Corvus gets a copy of Indomitable. He'll be able to rout a unit. If he goes to planet 4, he's going to be able to use, like, Taurus's activation. So there are a lot of really interesting choices here. I suppose I wouldn't be terribly surprised. Okay, so we see Talisarian Tempest Blade played on Corvus's Warlord, and this leads me to think that we might see Corvus go to planet 2 to block Davis from winning, like, a battle at that planet and healing a couple of points of damage on his Warlord, because, again, Corvus is going to get to swing first. But I guess we'll just kind of have to see what exactly is going to be happening at that planet there. If Davis sends his Warlord to planet 5, he'll be able to win that planet. He'll get a card and a resource, and really he could go to either 4 or 5, and either way he'd have the opportunity to trigger Taurus. So I'm quite fascinated to see where our world-class players are going to send their respective Warlords. I think it would be a really, well, let's see, if Corvus wins planet number 1, he's not going to win the game, so why, why take, well, I guess he could take that risk. If he does decide to go to planet number 1, he could certainly sponge the attacks. Yeah, it looks like Corvus is going to be doing that, so very interesting. Davis decides to go to planet number 4, and we'll just have to hope for Corvus's sake that Davis doesn't draw too many cards over the course of this round here. That's going to be command 1 on 3 planets, but that's going to be a stellar opportunity for Davis to trigger Taurus and draw himself 3 cards, or just instead go for resources, but at the moment it's looking like cards might suit him better since he'll be going into deploy phase with a total of 9 resources. So Davis gets a card and a resource. Corvus instead gets 2 cards and 4 resources, just like his upcoming HQ phase. And let's see how things are going to unwind at this planet. Spoiler alert, Davis doesn't have any shields whatsoever, so that is going to be Corvus swinging and killing a Blood Angels Veterans. This Blood Angels Veterans can take a swing at Corvus's Warlord, and we can see a 2-value shield card prevent that from being lethal damage. And then no matter what, this Blood Angels Veterans is going to be destroyed. Presumably it's going to retreat, and then Aatrox Prime is going to blow it apart, as opposed to letting Corvus's Warlord generate 1 resource from that action. So let's see it. That's going to be a copy of Iron Halo, so this is going to be grats to Corvus on winning this planet, and now all he's going to have to do is set himself up to win at Iridial, and that is going to be the game for him through either blue or green icons, but not red, so he may as well win it at Iridial, lest he otherwise forever hold his peace. Davis doesn't have, Tactical Squad Cardenuses or anything like that, so Honored Librarian could be a pretty damn decent choice for him. At this planet, he's going to have a hell of a lot of resources to do really whatever he wants in regard to deploying units at this planet. Cato has still got some shield cards. He's going to be able to sponge 1 blow. And yeah, like, if Davis sends his Warlord to this planet, things are going to go really bad for him. So that battle ended up being won. The Blood Angels Veterans retreated, and then Aatrox Prime blew it apart in the enemy HQ. And what exactly are we going to see? Unfortunately for Corvus, he did not have yet another copy of Indomitable and some drop pod assaults to back it up. That is going to be that planet 1 by Cato. Cato destroys the Tac Squad Cardenas, and he's going to trigger Taurus. I can only imagine that he's going to be drawing 3 cards. The answer is yes, he is, and interestingly, he got a copy of Void Pirate and 2 Honored Librarians, so he's going to have enough resources to play a lot of these units at this planet Iridial here. But we'll have to see how things end up going. Maybe Corvus is going to decide to challenge him at that planet, and then again, perhaps not. He might extend the duration of this game based on what exactly he comes across as shield cards. So here's kind of the situation here. Davis has now got a copy of Drop Pod Assault, and I'm rather curious to see if this is kind of Davis's opportunity to get back into this one. So let's see. Davis has got 8 resources. He's got a copy of Drop Pod Assault. He could do a double Honored Librarian and a Sakhalem Shrine Guard and a 10th Company Scout, and if that's the case, Corvus is not going to be easily able to overcome all that which he can bring to bear, so Corvus has got 10 resources available. What exactly are we going to see? If Corvus wins at planet number 1, then that is going to be the game going to him. If Davis sends his Warlord to someplace else, he might be able to snipe command, but this is just looking like it's going to be a very interesting balancing act. We've got a copy of Sicarius' Chosen, which is likely going to be able to move, like it could move an Honored Librarian away from planet number 1, and there's going to be that copy of Honored Librarian now. It's going to be 4 resources remaining for Davis. I can only imagine that we will see a Sicarius' Chosen move the Honored Librarian away from that planet, and if that is the case, then that essentially shows Corvus' hand that he's going to be sending his Warlord to that planet, but, I mean, man, things are still looking awfully grim for Davis to be able to win that one. He could do an Honored Librarian, granted that could quite handily bloody Corvus' Warlord, but if Davis arrives at planet number 1, he's going to be risking his Warlord being destroyed, just to allow him to, you know, bloody Corvus' Warlord. So there are a whole hell of a lot of options, and I guess let's kind of see what the players decide to make my life a little easier. At the moment, the only command looking to be won by Davis is going to be this planet number 1. That is going to be 1 cards. The Honored Librarian is going to be moved over to planet number 2, a planet rather irrelevant to combat here, and now Davis, really the best thing he could still do is going to be an Honored Librarian and a 10th Company Scout, but if he does that, he's not going to have enough resources to play a Drop Pod Assault unless Cato goes to like planet 2, or I guess depending on what he plays, he's going to need resources coming in to be able to use Drop Pod Assault. And like I have said, interesting, very interesting indeed. That is going to be a copy of Crushing Blow discarded to destroy that Honored Librarian, and now I can only wonder if we are going to see Planet 1 be the victory condition for Corvus, or if instead, like maybe Corvus just used that opportunity to, you know, do something cool. So, man, now I'm just very curious. Perhaps we're just going to be seeing Corvus stretch out this game as long as is possible. It would be a damn shame for Corvus if he does allow Kingsley the opportunity to heal a couple of points of damage off of his Warlord, but Davis has already invested very heavily indeed in this first planet. If Corvus does something like drop off his Blood Angels veterans here at this third planet, that's looking pretty good for him. So I guess this is just a very interesting game. So is Corvus, I guess a lot of this just hinges upon, will we be seeing him play his Honored Librarian at planet 1? If he does, if he sends his Warlord to that planet, if Davis shows up, then the Honored Librarian could maybe kill Cato. Like, things are looking really, really dangerous for Davis, so I don't know if he's going to be showing up at planet number 1 or not. I think a lot of this is going to hinge on what exactly Corvus decides to deploy. He's got 3 shield cards in hand, but of course, Talisarian Tempest Blade prevents shielding. Things would be rather different if if Corvus did have another copy of Indomitable in hand, but it does not look as though that is the case. So, ever the, economy bastard, Corvus lays down a copy of Vashyah Trailblazer at 1, 2 command icons versus 2 command icons. We see Davis pass. Now, what are we going to see? Are we going to see Honored Librarian at 1 for Corvus? So let's say both of our players send their respective warlords to planet number 1, because that's... if Davis loses 1, he's going to lose the game. So let's say both players send their warlords to 1. Davis could take a swing and kill, like he could guaranteed bloody this copy of Captain Cato Sicarius, but then the Honored Librarian could swing and deal 2 points of damage to Cato, and then the Vashyah Trailblazer would... Okay, so it looks like Corvus is going to let Planet 1 slide, and he's kind of shoring things up against the enemy warlords. So I can only imagine that we're going to be seeing Corvus send his copy of Cato to Planet 4. He'll have initiative, he'll be able to kill the Sakhalem Shrine Guard, and the presence of this Honored Librarian at planet number 3 is going to mean that that's going to be really... well, it's going to be a big deterrent for Davis to show up at that planet. If Davis shows up at 3, he's going to be able to swing, kill the Vashyah Trailblazer, and if that happens, then the Honored Librarian is going to be able to attack for 2, thanks to the discard of a Drop Pod Assault, and then Cato's going to have the opportunity, the rather sterling opportunity, to kill that Honored Librarian. So I suppose, are we going to see Cato go to planet... well... I guess Corvus, he's going to send his warlord to planet number 3. Very interesting. I was just about to kind of talk through this scenario of what if Davis sends his warlord to, say, 4, and instead Corvus sends his warlord to 3 to set himself up at yet another possible victory condition planet because of this Blood Angels veterans here. So, looks like it is going to be a card and a resource for Davis, and instead it's going to be a total of 2 cards and 3 resources for Corvus. So he is just playing a superb economy game. Okay, so yeah, sorry there. Planet number 1 is going to be a tie for both of our players, so my bad. And of course, first and foremost, I guess Corvus is bad. He did have that planet highlighted. That's going to be 1 card, 3 resources for Corvus, and instead it's going to be 1 card, 1 resource for Davis. So, planet number 1 is going to be handily won by Kingsley after this Vashyah Trailblazer mobiles away. That's going to be 2 points of damage removed from this copy of Captain Cato Sicarius, and now I suppose I'll just be really curious to see... is that going to be a shield that gets used, or sorry, I guess, okay, so planet number 1 is going to be won by Davis. I'm mixing myself up here. That is 2 points of damage moved away from Cato. The Vashyah Trailblazer is now moved to our soon-to-be planet number 1. Corvus is going to be able to trigger this effect, and all he's going to be able to do is route a target non-warlord unit. So he could route this Sakhalem Shrine Guard, which may not be the most terrible thing, or otherwise he can let it sit and rot at this planet, woefully irrelevant to combat, but it looks like he wants to try to stop it from winning command. So he's trying to create a big HQ train here for Cato. That battle is won, so grats to Corvus on winning that one. Corvus's warlord is going to bounce back to his HQ. Davis is going to be able to win Taurus a second time, and now, interestingly enough, Corvus, the following round, is going to have to win at planet number 1. Well, he doesn't necessarily have to win at planet number 1, but he definitely has to win at planet number soon-to-be 2. We come to the end of combat. That is going to be an Earthcast Technician retreating after its brethren was destroyed. Davis here is going to have the opportunity to gain either cards or resources. Is he going to go after cards, or is he going to go after resources? The answer is he's going after cards, and he gets some formidable economy units, but he doesn't really get any kind of big badass for combat. He did get a copy of Tactical Squad Cardenas, which is going to be essentially invaluable. He's got 2 copies of Tactical Squad Cardenas. We go through another HQ phase. That is 2 resources and 4 cards. 4 resources and 2 cards for each of our players here. And man, I thought things were going poorly for Davis, and it's not like they're going great. But, you know, these are just two world-class players, so let us see what exactly happens. Davis is going to have to, if he sends his Warlord to planet number 3, then he's essentially giving up the game. And if Davis goes to planet number 1, his units are all going to take a large amount of damage, because they're going to be showing up at that planet exhausted. We've got a drop pod assault, giving Corvus some flexibility with where he puts his units. And then if, you know, Davis goes to planet number 2, he's going to be taking all the more damage from Blood Angels veterans and an Honored Librarian. But Davis does have the luxury of 6 resources, and he's got some pretty nasty stuff in hand. We could see 2 copies of Tactical Squad Cardenas. We've got a copy of Crushing Blow, which might be great with the Tac Squad, killing off a copy of Honored Librarian, and then we've got a drop pod assault for Davis, which at the very least is going to be a 2-value shield card. Corvus has got initiative, so it's all going to be up to him. Those Iron Halos, as he's already got a relic in play, are going to be relegated to being discarded as shields. So he's got a Blood Angels veterans that he could place at one of these planets. If he wins Farron, he's going to be able to rout an enemy unit of choice, whether that's a Tac Squad or whether it's an Honored Librarian. The choice is going to be his. He could also use this copy of Sicarius' Chosen to move one of the enemy units. So kind of the crap situation for Corvus here is, I guess, first of all, worth mentioning is that the enemies... there's no Iridial left anymore, so Corvus's Warlord is looking rather susceptible to a bloodying. Corvus has only got 3 cost units to play to use as a deploy stall, whereas Davis could do like 10th Company Scout and Void Pirate. He's not necessarily going to be able to win command at planets 1 or 2, depending on wherever the Warlord goes. But he is going to be able to do a lot of stalling, and he's presumably going to be able to win command at this 3rd planet unless we see something like an Iron Guard recruits played out to this planet, and then Sicarius' Chosen moves the recruits to planet number 2, so Corvus is giving this some thought. Let's see here. Corvus has drawn through 30 cards, so 60% of his deck. That makes the math awfully easy, you know, as difficult as like ×2 ever is. And then Davis has instead gotten 50% of his deck. So very interesting that we see this. We've got a 1 command icon unit here at planet number 3, and Davis has got plenty of stuff in hand to do, like an Iron Guard recruits at this planet, and he'll be able to win command at that location, but I suppose it's like... if I presume Corvus is going to be sending his Warlord to 3, and he'll drop off this Earthcast Technician, and then he'll be able to swing first, he'll be able to wound the opponent's Warlord. So I don't think that Davis is going to be going to this irrelevant planet here, and maybe that leads me to believe that Corvus is not either, but at least if he does that, his Warlord is going to be... like Corvus's Warlord is going to be safe from being bloodied. So Sicarius is chosen at 2, pulls the Iron Guard recruits to that same planet. I can't imagine we're going to be seeing a Crushing Blow used to kill that Iron Guard recruits. We now see another copy of Iron Guard recruits. Corvus is going to be forced to pass, and now it's going to be Kingsley with the opportunity, well, let's call it that, to use a Tactical Squad Cardenas, but no, lo and behold, both of our players have passed, and now what exactly are we going to see? If Davis goes to planet 1, he's going to get his forces kind of beaten up a little bit. The drop pod assault, if that hits a Tactical Squad Cardenas, that's going to be an absolute nightmare for Davis. And 20 cards left, the odds of hitting one of presumably 3 Tac Squads in 20 cards is probably pretty good, although I can't do the math in my mind. And let's see, does Davis decide to go to 1? Interesting indeed. So Corvus drops his guys off at, well, his one guy off at his victory condition planet, and instead we see Davis go to planet number 1. So if Davis attacks with his Warlord, that's going to be one of these units killed, and then that is going to be potentially 2 points of damage to the Warlord, and then, you know, the Vashyal Trailblazer as well. But Davis gets 1 card and 3 resources in total, and now he's got an Eagle Recruit, he's got a Drop Pod Assault, a lot of different tricks at his disposal, and Corvus instead only managed to win a measly 1 card and 1 resource. So we've got battle occurring at planet number 1. The Vashyal Trailblazer is going to be moving over to planet number 2. And it looks like Corvus is just trying to get as many bodies as possible on that planet. I suppose in case Drop Pod Assault hits an Honored Librarian, Davis takes a swing, being a little bit ballsy. He kills, a copy of Sicarius is chosen, and now what exactly are we going to see? Are we going to be seeing the Sicalum Shrine Guards, these 1/1s, picked off, or instead are we going to see Davis's Warlord being attacked? The answer is it's going to be the Warlord, so an attack of 2 is going to be mitigated down to 1 thanks to the discard of a copy of the Fury of Sicarius. So it's 3 hit points until Davis's Warlord is outright destroyed. Eagle Recruit drops down into play, and things are getting very interesting here. So this Eagle Recruit is going to be taking a swing, killing off a copy of the Vashyal Trailblazer. And now, I guess, what are we going to see? Are we going to see the Vashyal Trailblazer swing at Cato, and then we see the Drop Pod Assault finish off the Vashyal Trailblazer? Or what exactly is going to be happening if we get lucky with a Drop Pod Assault? Rather, you know, if Corvus gets lucky, if he hits... I don't know how many Honored Librarians he's got left. Let's go ahead and take a look at his discard pile, but do note that attack is going to the Honored Librarian, or sorry, the Vashyal Trailblazer. If we see Drop Pod Assault and it hits on an Honored Librarian, and that Honored Librarian swings at Cato, all we could do is see 2 blocked, and then Crushing Blow would make that 3, and that would be the death of the enemy Warlord if Davis does not have a copy of Indomitable in hand, but I don't think he's seen any of those yet. I can only imagine that Corvus is not going to be quite so gutsy a player. So the Eagle Recruit is killed. We also have those 2-value shield cards in hand. This is going to be the Vashyal Trailblazer with its opportunity to attack. And I guess, what are we going to see? Are we going to see that Drop Pod Assault? Let's see what it's going to be. Is it going to be an Honored Librarian? I guess we can't quite see. But what can it be? If it's Honored Librarian, then that is going to be the GG, but it looks like that is not the case. This is going to be swinging for 3. It's going to be able to deal 3 points of damage to Cato, but we're presumably going to be seeing that dropped thanks to this Drop Pod Assault. So that is going to be the swing here of the Blood Angels veterans. It's going to be 3. -2 is going to be still 2. So the Blood Angels Veterans is going to have well, I guess not quite yet. So let's see what happens. That, I suppose, is maybe quite wise. That's going to be 1 point of damage dealt out to Cato. Are we going to see Crushing Blow discarded as a shield? Otherwise, Davis is potentially throwing away the life of his poor Warlord here. And I suppose, speaking personally, Crushing Blow has proven to be the downfall of Davis. So he discards a copy of Crushing Blow to prevent that impact there, and now what are we going to see? We're going to be seeing a swing. Okay, so that is going to be 3 -2 is 1, and that is going to be a single point of damage on Captain Cato Sicarius. That is a Drop Pod Assault gone. Now we're going to be coming to the end of the combat round. I can only imagine that Davis is going to be fleeing away from that planet, and now his Warlord is in a very rough spot indeed. So into the combat round, Davis is going to decide to retreat with his Warlord. It, of course, was going to be the opportunity for Corvus to decide to retreat no, sorry. There was no enemy Warlord here, so that's going to be Davis had to make that decision first. We do see all of those units retreat, which is very interesting indeed, so it's going to be Corvus not taking any risks and setting himself up nicely to be able to win at the following planet here, so that is going to be an opportunity to rout one of these units. That is going to be a red icon added to Davis's victory display, but that is going to set himself up. It's going to set up Corvus quite nicely to show up at planet number 2 the following round. Who cares if Captain Cato Sicarius is going to get bloodied? He's going to be able to win command at that planet, and things are looking like they're going to go from bad to worse for Davis, although Davis will be able to deploy 2 tactical squad Cardenuses at that planet. He will have initiative if he has the audacity to send his Warlord to that planet, but that's probably going to be a very poor life choice indeed for Davis. So we see Farron rout a ready copy of Blood Angels Veterans, and that's a very interesting choice. Why is that an interesting choice? It's because each ready copy of Blood Angels Veterans would, of course, shrug off 1 point of damage from area effect, so Davis never fails to be the absolutely outstanding player, and this is developed into one hell of a match from what I figured was going to be a crushing one-sided victory at the very onset. So, battle occurs. That is going to be the Honored Librarian taking no chances. That is going to be a dead copy of Iron Guard Recruits. That is going to be +1 resource for Corvus if he remembers. There we go. So he has boosted up his resources by 1, and now that is going to be no planet ability activated by Corvus. So we're going to move into what I can only imagine is going to be the final HQ round. It's going to be up to Davis to draw some solid gold, and he'll have an abundant number of resources to put a whole lot of sneaky tricks into play. How many copies of Sicarius' Chosen have we seen? Because that might be the best thing to see for Corvus, but unfortunately he's played all 4 of his copies thereof. Davis is basically going to be forced to send his Warlord to planet number 1. He's going to have to retreat as his first deploy action. We've got this copy of Tactical Squad Cardenas, but we've moved through our HQ phase. That's going to be 4 resources and 2 cards for each of our players. Davis drew garbage, but what exactly did Corvus get? So Davis has drawn 28 cards, and he's only seen 1 Indomitable. Very interesting how that has happened here, but at planet number 1, we've got a copy of Tactical Squad Cardenas, which is presumably going to be able to help out Davis by a considerable margin. If there was anything that was going to be able to allow Davis to potentially win this game, it is going to be that. And he's got a copy of Indomitable to perhaps ensure that he can get off attacks from both of his tactical squads. But speaking of tactical squads, we've got a copy of Veteran Brother Maxos, who is going to be absolutely superb to work around that kind of effect. So after tac squads start discharging their area effect, then you can put units into play once they're nice and safe. And if Cato here can survive some area effect onslaughts, then that's going to be all the more income in regard to resources for Corvus, and then that fuels Veteran Brother Maxos all the more. Void Pirate is positioned here at our planet number 2, so both of our players are tied in regard to command. 2 copies of Tactical Squad Cardenas at planet number 1, which are going to be quite ready to devastate the standing forces here of Corvus, and this is going to be a lot of units showing up exhausted for Davis. Unfortunately, both of these Sacalum Shrine Guards are only going to be 1/1s. We do see that copy of Veteran Brother Maxos. We've also got a copy of eager recruits, so I'll be very curious to see how things go here. Opportunistically, we could use Crushing Blow to ensure that one of these tactical squads is going to end up being killed, but I think this final battle is kind of going to boil down to how long can Corvus keep his Warlord at the first planet, stopping it from being bloodied for him to generate as many resources as possible, depending on what exactly he's going to draw during the command phase. So very interestingly, whichever player wins this first planet is going to take the game. So Corvus could win through blue icons, Davis could win through red. Man, I guess I'll just be really curious to see what happens. We've got another copy of Void Pirate at planet number 2, and interestingly enough, that is going to potentially be now 2 cards and a resource for Davis, unless we see Corvus do something about it, but unfortunately he is not going to be able to. So Corvus indicates that he has passed, and I guess we'll just have to see how Davis wants to spend the remainder of his resources. All he's going to be able to do is this copy of 10th Company Scout, which will, at the very least, be ready at that same planet. Corvus has no tactical squad Cardenuses of his own, which would have been an absolute godsend in this situation. So let's see if Davis manages to win this one. Both players are going to be sending their Warlords to planet number 1. I can only imagine Davis is going to have to use his first action to retreat, I imagine, or otherwise he'll use his first action to do Tactical Squad Cardenas as area effect, and then use like Indomitable to absorb an attack against his Warlord, and then retreat with his Warlord. So certainly a lot of different options here. 10th Company Scout is going to be played out to planet number 1, but it is 3 command icons versus 5, and now it's going to be 5 command icons versus 5, so very interesting here. Yeah, so that's 5 versus 5. The only income is going to be a total of 2 cards and a resource for Davis, and that's not going to be enough to do anything apart from play a copy of Indomitable, but maybe for Davis's sake, he's going to draw into some shield cards, and now Corvus has got all of his tricks on the table. Both of our players are going to be sending their Warlords to planet number 1, and let's see what exactly we're going to be seeing from Davis. So what does he draw? He's going to get a total of 2 cards and a resource. So let's see how things go. If he gets some shield cards, that is definitely going to be helping him. But what is it going to be? Is it going to be army units, or is it instead going to be something with shields associated with it? Okay, nope, it's going to be some irrelevant garbage. So it's either Eager Recruit or Indomitable are going to be your choice for what you can use to attack. So is Davis's first action going to be retreating or not? We've got combat breaking out at the first planet. This is going to be a hell of a battle, and it's all going to come down to this last battle here. Whichever player ends up winning this planet is going to take the game, and only that player is going to move on to the top 32 single elimination of the 187 entrant Spring 2016 season of the Black Crusade. So Corvus does not have initiative, and let's see how this goes. We've got a lot of shield cards, and we've got a crushing blow for Corvus, and for Davis, we've just got that one lonely Indomitable. But what exactly are we going to see? Davis indicates no actions for either player. Is Davis going to be retreating or not? All right, so first action is going to be Tactical Squad Cardenas, damaging each and every unit at this planet. I can only imagine that we're going to be seeing a shield card saved for that Honored Librarian, or otherwise maybe we'll see it used now, but that is going to be a point of damage to each and every one of these units. We're going to have to see a shield used to block this copy of Tac Squad Cardenas from bloodying the Warlord of Corvus. There's not going to be any single unit that can bloody Cato, so I'll be really curious to see what exactly is going to be happening here. So Veteran Brother Maxos took a point of damage. We do have an Eager Recruit that'll work out well for Corvus. So let's see how damage is going to get distributed. That's so far to all of these units: the Blood Angels Veterans, the Veteran Brother Maxos, Sicarius is chosen, the other chosen, and the Vashiah Trailblazer, I can only imagine, is going to get destroyed. The Earthcast Technician, I would assume, is also going to be destroyed. Crushing Blow is going to be discarded to block the damage that's going out to this Honored Librarian here. So that is going to be Iron Halo blocking the attack, the area effect that is discharging against Corvus's Warlord. And now is Corvus going to be attacking the Tactical Squad Cardenas, or is he going to go for Davis's Warlord? Either way, there's going to be an Indomitable that occurs At least I would imagine. So I suppose let's get rid of this Indomitable, and then the combat math becomes a little bit easier for everyone involved. So Corvus is going to take that risk. He's going to take a swing at Davis's Warlord. We see Indomitable block that effect, and now it's going to be up to Davis. Davis basically has to retreat from this planet, or otherwise he's going to lose the game. I suppose maybe all that Davis can do now is bluff. So Davis can take a swing and bloody the enemy Warlord, or he can use area effect with this Tactical Squad Cardenas. But it's looking like Davis is going to presumably have to retreat, and if that is the case, yes, Davis is going to decide to retreat, and that is going to be the Honored Librarian with the opportunity to kill the Tactical Squad Cardenas, and now things are looking really rotten for Davis's chances here. We've got the Sicarius is chosen, we've got Veteran Brother Maxos, and we've got a copy of Eager Recruit, and yeah, things are looking like they're about to be disastrous here for our things are going to go really poorly for Davis at this moment. So we see a copy of Iron Halo discarded. That is going to be a preserved copy of Veteran Brother Maxos, and why not pick apart this Tactical Squad Cardenas, and that is very shortly going to be the game. Eager Recruit drops into play. This is kind of interesting timing, I suppose, for it, but it's going to be delivering an attack, and the attack is going to be at what? Corvus has no cards remaining in hand, 2 points of damage to the Tactical Squad Cardenas. Davis is not going to be able to use any tricks whatsoever, so that's going to be another couple of points of damage dealt to this Tactical Squad Cardenas. That's going to be Veteran Brother Maxos, presumably killing off this 10th Company Scout, and now it's just going to be up to Corvus. May as well have his Warlord hang out at this planet and just, you know, absorb one additional enemy attack. So Veteran Brother Maxos has cleared out that 10th Company Scout. There's now no chance whatsoever that Corvus is going to be able to win this, or that Davis is going to be able to win this one, and it looks like we may as well call out the GG right here. Our players are definitely... All right, so Davis goes ahead and calls it out shortly after I do, so he calls out the GG. Congratulations to Corvus, Kevin Corvus Hynes, for winning this 6th week featured match of the spring 2016 season of Sam Mann's Black Crusade, his online Conquest LCG competitive league. That ended up being a hell of a game, but it definitely goes to show that Tactical Squad Cardenas is incredible, and also if you play a slow game, if you play conservatively, if you play smart, if you take advantage of as many Space Marines faction combat tricks as possible, chances are you're going to end up doing pretty goddamn well, even against a player that was talented and skilled enough to take the 2nd place position during the 2014 World Championship. So thank you to both of our players for allowing me the honor and opportunity to record this match, to share it with all of you dear viewers. Special thanks to Kevin for waiting around for Davis to show up a half an hour late, and a special thanks to Davis for having the patience to sit around on a Macintosh and configure Octagon until it would work in the face of all sorts of updates and whatnot. So that ended up being an incredible game. Do let me know what you thought of this one in the comments section below. Thank you for watching, and as always, if you enjoyed this content, be sure to hit that like button and subscribe to my channel if you've not done so already, or if you are already subscribed, as ever you're encouraged to share this content. The more people see these videos, the more people are exposed to Conquest, incredible Conquest matches like this one. They may give the game a try, join our community, and of course, as always, I encourage you to reach out to me on social media. I'm on Twitter, I'm on Facebook, and if you ever have any inclination whatsoever to make even a small, paltry modicum of a donation or contribution in a financial sense to the Hive Tyrant, I would be absolutely honored, humbled, and deeply appreciative were you to make a, toss me a couple of bucks on a strictly monthly basis to the Patreon. So, as always, thank you so much for watching, and be sure to check back in again soon for much more Conquest LCG content to come.